Have you ever wondered what true evil looks like? Beyond the stories and rumors, there's a chilling truth about the seven princes of hell and the deadly sins they control. We're going to reveal the dark secrets of these seven princes of hell. Each one rules over a deadly sin that has affected humanity for centuries. From Lucifer's blinding pride to Satan's uncontrollable rage, we'll dive deep into the worlds of these evil beings. See how their influence has slipped into our world, corrupting souls and causing chaos. We dive headlong into the details, discussing each of these demons and what they represent. You will also get to learn about what the Bible had to say about these seven princes and how dangerous they can be. Before we continue, kindly hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our videos. You must first understand that the seven princes of hell are linked to the seven deadly sins, which are pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. The first prince of hell is Lucifer. The concept of Lucifer as the first among the seven deadly sins is deeply rooted in Christian theology and has evolved over centuries. The concept is drawn from biblical texts, interpretations, and cultural narratives. In the book of Isaiah, there's a passage that talks about a figure referred to as Lucifer. This scripture is in Isaiah 14, verses 12 and 13. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." This passage initially describes the downfall of a powerful king, likely the king of Babylon, using metaphorical language comparing his fall to that of the morning star, which rises and then fades away. However, over time, particularly in Christian interpretations, this passage came to be associated with the fall of the devil. But who exactly is Lucifer? In the Bible, Lucifer is not explicitly identified as the devil. The name Lucifer is derived from the Latin word for morning star or light bringer, which was used to translate the Hebrew word hello. This word originally referred to the planet Venus, which shines brightly in the morning sky before sunrise. At this point, you must be thinking, is Lucifer also Satan? Well, not exactly. As we said earlier, Lucifer represents pride and rebellion. His pride and untamed quest for power resulted in his downfall, after which he became Satan. To properly understand this, let's delve a little into Lucifer's fall. Lucifer's fall from glory to curse is quite an intriguing one. In the celestial realms, Lucifer existed as an angelic being of unparalleled radiance and splendor. His very name, derived from Latin roots meaning bringer of light, explained his essence, for he shone with such brilliance that captivated all who beheld him. In the heavenly hierarchy, Lucifer occupied a position of utmost honor, counted among the foremost angels in the divine host, alongside the likes of Michael and Gabriel. However, within the heart of this majestic being lay a seed of pride, a desire for something more than the exalted station he already held. As Isaiah recounts, Lucifer's downfall began with a daring challenge to the sovereignty of God himself. "I watched Satan fall from heaven like a flash of lightning," declared Jesus, recounting the scene he had witnessed in the celestial realms. Pride, that ancient sin, took root in Lucifer's heart, causing him to covet equality with the Almighty. With cunning persuasion, he sought to rally a faction of angels to his cause, sowing seeds of dissent and rebellion among the heavenly host. Despite his initial status as an anointed cherub, tasked with guarding the very presence of God, Lucifer's insatiable ambition drove him to seek dominion over all. The prophet Ezekiel paints a vivid portrait of Lucifer's descent from grace, detailing his splendid adornment with precious stones and his privileged position in the Garden of Eden. Yet, despite his unmatched beauty and wisdom, Lucifer's heart grew proud and rebellious, leading to his ultimate downfall. As God's judgment fell upon him, Lucifer was cast out from the divine presence, his once majestic form reduced to ashes in the sight of all. The second prince of hell is the big fat Beelzebub, known as the demon of gluttony. The legends have it that once upon a time, in the depths of the infernal realm, was this demon Beelzebub, who had considerable power and cunning. Beelzebub was not content with merely ruling over his domain. He craved more power and influence in the mortal world. In his quest for dominion, Beelzebub devised a wicked plan. He would tempt mortals with promises of wealth, fame, and power in exchange for their souls. With each soul he claimed, Beelzebub grew stronger, his influence spreading like a malignant shadow. However, Beelzebub's unquenchable hunger for souls eventually drew the attention of the forces of light. They gathered their champions to confront the demon lord and put an end to his reign of terror. In a titanic battle that shook the very foundations of reality, Beelzebub clashed with the champions of light. But even his formidable powers were no match for their righteousness and strength. Defeated and weakened, Beelzebub was cast back into the depths of the inferno, his dark ambitions thwarted. Though vanquished, the memory of Beelzebub's treachery lingered, a cautionary tale of the dangers of greed and temptation. And so, the infernal lord remained a dark legend, a reminder of the eternal struggle between light and darkness. Beelzebub was adored by the people of Ekron, an old Canaanite and Philistine town. They worshipped a god called Beelzebub, which means Lord of Flies. It's thought this name might have been linked to a group of fly worshippers or his supposed ability to control flies. Over time, many Canaanite gods were reimagined as demons within Jewish folklore, including Beelzebub. Later apocryphal texts, such as the Testament of Solomon, depict Beelzebub as a distinct demon and a prominent figure in the pecking order of hell, though still subordinate to the devil. In Christian belief, Beelzebub was once a high-ranking angel named Lucifer, but he was cast out of heaven for disobeying God. He's often shown as a scary creature surrounded by flies, using trickery to lead people astray. Beelzebub symbolizes greed and deceit, ranking second to Satan in the evil hierarchy. In the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, a bit of a controversy unfolded when the Pharisees, the learned Jewish scribes of the time, accused Jesus of collaborating with Beelzebub, whom they dub as the Prince of Demons. This accusation arises in the aftermath of Jesus performing an exorcism, liberating a blind man from demonic possession. In response, Jesus challenges their logic, asking, "How can Satan drive out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." While the common interpretation identifies Beelzebub as another name for Satan, an alternative perspective suggests that Jesus may not have explicitly equated Beelzebub with Satan, but rather indicated that Beelzebub operated within Satan's domain. Some literary sources argue that Beelzebub stands for different things. However, his attribution to gluttony is the most widely agreed on. He represents the dangerous desire for more, which can harm us and those around us. It's a warning about controlling our desires and acting with moderation. As the Apostle Paul teaches the Philippian church in Philippians chapter 4, verse 5, he says, "Let your moderation be known unto all men, the Lord is at hand." Moderation means not going too far or doing too much of something. It's about controlling ourselves and not letting things get out of hand. Living a moderate life can be tough nowadays because our world encourages excess. Everywhere we look, there's a temptation to have more than we need. In the Bible, there's a book called Ecclesiastes, written by King Solomon, who was said to be the wisest man to have ever lived. He tried everything, pleasure, hard work, wisdom, but found that none of it brought lasting happiness. He realized that enjoying life and God's gifts is great, but when we value those things more than we value God, we end up feeling empty. Even good stuff can be a problem if we don't use it in moderation. Like chocolate, it's yummy, but too much isn't good for us. Or sleep. It's important, but sleeping too much can make us lazy. Kids are often not great at moderation because they want to do things over and over again or eat too many sweets. But part of growing up is learning to control ourselves and say no when we need to. The third prince of hell is Asmodeus. Asmodeus is a powerful demon known for causing trouble in marriages and tempting people with lust. Asmodeus is believed to have roots in ancient Iranian mythology and later became a significant figure in Jewish and Christian lore. In various ancient texts, Asmodeus is depicted as a formidable demon with multiple heads and a serpent-like tail. He's said to have immense power and commands legions of demons. People believed they could summon him to gain knowledge and power, but dealing with him was risky. One story involving Asmodeus comes from the Testament of Solomon, where King Solomon uses his wisdom and a special ring to control demons, including Asmodeus, to build his temple. Asmodeus admits to causing chaos in marriages and luring people into sinful desires. Asmodeus is also mentioned in a part of the Old Testament called the Apocrypha, which is accepted by Catholics but not by Protestants. In the book of Tobit, Asmodeus is portrayed as a demon causing trouble for Sarah, a young woman whose suitors mysteriously die on their wedding nights. In the biblical book of Tobit, there's a story that involves the demon Asmodeus and his influence over a woman named Sarah. Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, had been married 7 times, but each of her husbands died before they could finalize their marriage due to the demon's interference. Asmodeus had fallen in love with Sarah and was determined to prevent any man from marrying her. To help Sarah, God sends an angel named Raphael to assist Tobias. Tobias was a righteous young man who was sent by his father to retrieve money that belonged to their family. With the guidance of the archangel Raphael in disguise, Tobias married Sarah and used a fish's gall to drive away Asmodeus before sealing their marriage. The story highlights the power of faith and divine intervention in overcoming the influence of evil forces. It also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of falling into temptation and the importance of relying on spiritual strength to resist such temptations. Throughout history, Asmodeus has been associated with the sin of lust and ranked among the top demons in hell's hierarchy. Different religious texts and scholars have classified him in various ways, but his reputation as a powerful and malevolent entity remains consistent. So, Asmodeus has a long and storied history in mythology and religion, embodying the dangers of lust and temptation. Several stories in the Bible aim to guide Christians to overcome the powers of lust and temptation. One of the more vivid ones is David and Bathsheba in 2 Samuel chapter 11. This chapter talks about King David's affair with Bathsheba. Despite being married, David lusted after Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, and committed adultery with her. To cover up his sin, David arranged for Uriah to be killed in battle. God punished David by taking the life of the child born from his union with Bathsheba and bringing turmoil to his household. The fourth prince of hell is the big, bad, ugly demon of envy, Leviathan. Long ago, when everything was still chaotic, God made 2 huge sea monsters, Leviathan and Behemoth. Leviathan was a massive creature with tough scales and sharp teeth, scaring everyone just by being there. People thought of Leviathan as pure evil, kind of like the devil. They got this idea from the Bible, where Leviathan is described as this big, scary sea creature that goes against God's order. In the book of Genesis, it says, God created these sea monsters. But according to other stories, God also made a mate for Leviathan, but then killed it because having baby Leviathans would be too much for the world to handle. One of the legends has it that Leviathan existed in ancient times when the world was still young. It described Leviathan as a ferocious beast whose sheer size and power struck fear into the hearts of sailors and coastal villagers alike. But despite its fearsome reputation, this legend has it that Leviathan was not inherently evil. It was a guardian of the ocean, fiercely protective of its domain and the creatures that dwelled within it. Yet its immense power often led to misunderstandings and conflicts with mortals. Legend spoke of brave heroes who sought to challenge Leviathan, hoping to claim glory and riches by slaying the mighty beast. But each attempt ended in failure, as Leviathan's strength proved too great for any mortal to overcome. In time, wise sages and mystics came to understand that Leviathan was not a creature to be feared or conquered, but to be respected and revered. They forged a bond of mutual respect with the sea serpent, offering prayers and sacrifices to appease its wrath and seeking its guidance in times of need. And so, Leviathan became a symbol of the untamed power of the natural world, a reminder of the need for balance and harmony between humanity and the forces of nature. Its legend endured through the ages, a testament to the awe-inspiring majesty of the world's oceans and the mysteries that lay beneath their waves. In the book of Job, Leviathan is talked about a lot. He's described as this fierce beast that nobody can control, and he even spits fire and smoke. God talks about Leviathan to show how powerful he is and how small humans are compared to him. So after Job was tortured by Satan under God's orders, he called out to God, demanding answers. "Haven't I been a faithful servant," he cries, "following your laws and treating people well?" And God came down to Job in the form of a storm cloud and showed Job many visions of the world. One of the visions he showed was of two great monsters. One was called Behemoth, and the other animal was Leviathan. Leviathan was described as a sea monster able to breathe fire with impenetrable scales. God explains that he made all things and that all his creations were good, even these two terrifying creatures. Job is humbled by God's display of power and omnipotence, and is later given back all that Satan took from him and more. Leviathan is mentioned a couple more times in the Bible, but never explicitly as a demon. It is said that God will kill Leviathan at the end of time. In Revelation, Satan takes the form of that old serpent, as we've discussed, and some interpret this as an allusion not to the snake in the Garden of Eden, but to Leviathan. Some other parts of the Bible, like Psalms and Isaiah, also talk about Leviathan. Sometimes he's seen as this scary, evil thing, and other times he's seen as part of God's creation, showing his power and majesty. Leviathan appears in Psalms chapter 74, verse 14, as a multi-headed sea serpent that is killed by God and given as food to the Hebrews in the wilderness. In Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1, Leviathan is a serpent and a symbol of Israel's enemies, who will be slain by God. Picture Leviathan as a cunning manipulator, planting seeds of envy that grow into twisted vines, choking out joy and contentment. He revels in the misery of those consumed by jealousy, twisting their hearts until they can't see the blessings in their own lives. So, when you feel envy creeping in, remember the image of Leviathan, the embodiment of jealousy, and strive to resist its toxic influence. Focus instead on gratitude and appreciation for what you have, and starve the demon of envy of its power over you. This brings us to the fifth prince of hell, the dreadful Belphegor. He is believed to be a lieutenant of Satan himself. This demon, known as Belphegor, is often dispatched on various missions aimed at deceiving mortals through a diverse array of methods. One of Belphegor's favored forms is that of a captivatingly beautiful woman, exploiting her allure to seduce unsuspecting men and lure them into his dark schemes. Belphegor originates from the Canaanite god Baal-peor, worshipped by the Moabites, as mentioned in the book of Numbers. The Israelites, while staying in Shittim, engaged in immoral acts with Moabite women, leading them to worship the god Baal-peor, resulting in divine anger. During the late Middle Ages and Renaissance, Belphegor gained popularity as a demon, appearing in various literary works such as the Lesser Key of Solomon and Paradise Lost by John Milton, while the Lantern of Light attributes gluttony to Belphegor. In Kabbalah, Belphegor is portrayed as a demon of innovation and invention, tempting humans with shortcuts promising easy success, but ultimately leading to destruction. This interpretation aligns with Binsfeld's view. Peter Binsfeld is a bishop renowned for his classification of demons. In his writings, he associates Belphegor with the sin of sloth. According to this bishop, Belphegor holds a prominent position among the seven princes of hell, reigning supreme over the sin of sloth. But what exactly is sloth? At its core, sloth embodies a state of spiritual and physical laziness. It is characterized by hatred for anything involving physical exertion of energy and love for idleness. It is also a failure to fulfill one's potential and a rejection of the gifts bestowed upon them by a higher power, ultimately defying the divine will. The tale of Belphegor intertwines with a significant biblical event concerning the worship of Baal-peor, a local deity revered by the Moabites. This deity, synonymous with indulgence and debauchery, became a focal point of temptation for the Israelites as they journeyed through the ancient city of Shittim. Under the influence of Moabite women, the Israelite men succumbed to the allure of false gods, partaking in sacrificial rituals and forsaking their faith. This betrayal incurred the wrath of the Lord, leading to dire consequences for the errant Israelites. Belphegor's appearance can change drastically depending on the role he plays. Sometimes, he looks like an incredibly attractive woman, completely naked, using this beauty to trap those who are easily swayed by charm. However, other times, Belphegor transforms into a monstrous male demon with tough skin, big horns, long, sharp teeth and nails, and a menacing mouth wide open. This variation in his looks shows how he can be both alluring and terrifying. People often call on Belphegor hoping to gain fame and wealth with minimal effort through their inventions. Unfortunately, like most demonic summonings, these hopes are bound to fail. Belphegor's real goal is to lure lazy people into the sin of sloth. By leading them towards failure, he encourages procrastination and daydreaming instead of action, ultimately condemning them. The Christian Bible portrays diligence as essential for achieving excellence in life. Diligence is the direct opposite of sloth. The book of Proverbs was where much of the wisdom concerning diligence as against sloth was written. Proverbs 22:29 states, "Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank." This wisdom highlights the importance of diligence. It goes to say that if you are diligent, you will excel and be recognized for your efforts. In number 6 is the prince called Mammon. Mammon is called the demon of greed. He embodies the temptations and pitfalls associated with material wealth and worldly possessions. Long before Mammon was depicted as a demon, The word itself had a different meaning. In Hebrew, Mammon simply means money. In today's Hebrew, it's expanded to encompass wealth in general. The English term originates from the post-classical Latin word mommona, which carries the same connotation of wealth. Numerous languages, including German, Polish, and French, use derivatives of this word to refer to both positive and negative aspects of wealth and treasure. The roots of the word seem to trace back to Syrian cultures where a deity with a similar name was revered as the god of riches, symbolizing wealth. Christians later adopted Mammon, relating it with negative connotations. Mammon means money or wealth in Greek. Back in the Middle Ages, people thought of Mammon as a demon, eventually earning a place among the 7 princes of hell. They also linked him to Plutus, a Greek god of riches. In a famous poem called Dante's Inferno, Plutus is shown as a big wolf in hell. And a smart guy named Thomas Aquinas once said that being greedy is like Mammon riding on the back of a wolf out of hell. Despite his lowly demonic rank, Mammon wields significant influence over humanity, often associated with greed and materialism. The Bishop of Nyssa, Gregory of Nyssa, identified Mammon as none other than the demon Beelzebub, attributing to him the power to enslave those who succumb to greed. In the Bible, Jesus was speaking to the people. In Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 24, it reads, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon." Through this passage, Jesus invites us not to desire treasures on earth that can be destroyed by nature or could be robbed by thieves. Jesus says to seek treasure in heaven where such loss is not possible. Jesus also explains that if one decides to love material wealth, he will not be able to love God. Jesus again uses the word mammon in Luke. Chapter 16, verses 9 through 13. "And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when ye fail they may receive you into everlasting habitations. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon." Here, Jesus was clearly referring to the demon, Mammon. He highlighted how impossible it was to serve 2 masters. Trying to serve 2 masters, of course, in itself, is a clear sign of greed. In our world today, there's this crazy drive for money. This craze has led to an increase in crime rate like never before. Nearly every crime scene can be linked to the need for money in one way or another. The last, and probably the meanest of the 7 princes of hell, is Satan. Satan is the demon of wrath. He is the most well-known of the demons. Satan, also known as the demon of wrath or the adversary, is the most famous of all demons. He rules over the underworld and controls many other demons, tempting people with his tricky words. Different religions see Satan as a really bad entity who represents evil and chaos. He's really good at lying and can shapeshift to trick people into trusting him. Jesus, when rebuking the Jews, referred to him as the father of all liars. His exact words in John chapter 8, verse 44 says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. This clearly depicts Satan as a liar and a murderer, synonymous with wrath. The name Satan is sometimes used interchangeably with Lucifer. We have discussed the difference between these two princes. While Satan is seen as a fallen angel and the adversary of God and humanity in both Christianity and Islam, Lucifer is more of a mythological figure whose name was later appropriated into Christianity to refer to Satan. One of the stories in the Bible that shows how destructive Satan can be and how quick he is to ruin a life is Job. There was a meeting in heaven where God boasted to Satan about Job. Satan, replying, said God had given Job everything he needed, hence his commitment to God. God then permitted Satan to tempt Job, warning him not to touch Job's life. Satan, in very rapid succession, released his wrath on Job, reducing him to 0 in a single day. Satan then took away Job's possessions, health, and family. Despite enduring immense suffering, Job remained faithful to God, ultimately demonstrating Satan's inability to shake his faith through wrathful trials. These are the 7 princes of hell. These princes have been linked with the 7 deadly sins described in theology. From Lucifer to Mammon, down to Belphegor, these beasts combine to wreak havoc and bring human beings right to their knees. What do you think about these 7 princes and the sins they represent? Share with us in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to enjoy more videos like this one.